What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the NorCal Sports Report, live from the DreArea Sports Studios in Northern California. And today we have a banger show. We're breaking down what in God's name happened on Sunday with the San Francisco 49ers as they fall to the Arizona Cardinals 24-23. Robert Saleh has been fired from the Jets as their head coach. Should he come back to the Niners? And should the Niners go out and get him? Cal Bears blow a huge game. We're going to talk about that. Stanford gets ran over. San Jose State, maybe the only hope in the Bay Area for a winning franchise, or a winning team, that is. San Francisco Giants rumors. And 3C2A scores. All this and more today on the NorCal Sports Report, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's do this. What's going on, guys? Welcome to NorCal Sports Report here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Happy to be here. I'm your host, Andre Fernandez, and man, we had an exciting week of sports. Didn't end very well for a lot of us. You know, the scores, it wasn't friendly. Although we had a lot of games that went down to the wire and they were close games, very exciting games, but unfortunately not on the side that we wanted to in terms of winning. But we're going to talk about all that in just a few minutes, guys. Before we get to all of that, make sure that you follow IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, at IE Sports Radio. Make sure that you follow IE Sports Radio on YouTube. We want to get this channel to over 1,000 subscribers, and we can do that during this NFL season. So head over to YouTube, go to IE Sports Radio, and hit the subscribe button with that bell notification button so you're always notified of any new broadcast this channel puts out, because the channel puts out. I mean, we got countless shows streaming every single day from around the country, so definitely check out IE Sports Radio over on YouTube. And, of course, you can find IE Sports Radio. It's available on any platform that provides a podcast, over Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, YouTube Music, all that stuff, CastBox. Wherever you find your podcast, you will find IE Sports Radio. And go over to IESportsRadio.com. You'll find the whole category of all the shows that we have to offer over on IE Sports Radio. And, of course, if you go to IE Sports Radio / the NorCal Sports Report, that will take you to this show right here, so you never miss a show as long as you go over to IE Sports Radio or you follow us over on IE Sports Radio on YouTube. So definitely check those out. And while you're there, check out IESportsRadio.com / shop. There you can pick up some merchandise, t-shirts, hats, banners, whatever you need, it's there. Check out IESportsRadio.com / shop. You can follow me directly over at NorCal Sports IE over on X. And that's where I post most of my stuff. A lot of college football I post on there. And, of course, the Niners, which is the main event of my my channel. So definitely check that out. You can also follow me personally over at DreArea Sports on X and Instagram. And, of course, go to follow me on YouTube over at DreArea Sports. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification button so you're always notified of any broadcast that I do on the DreArea Sports channel. It's worth it. Believe me. I'll be live again this Thursday with CG Ruthless on our new show, 4th and 1. We'll be talking about the upcoming matchup between the Niners and the Seahawks. And with that being said, this broadcast is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole nother planet. If you want to follow Planet Jerky, you can do so at this link right here over on Instagram at Planet Jerky. If you want to place an order for this premium brisket beef jerky, you could do so by going to planetjerky.net. Definitely check that out. Planet Jerky. It's on a whole other level, man. I'm loving Planet Jerky. We're also brought to you by Seal the Deal Wax Seals. You can follow them over on IG at SealTheDeal_Wax Seals. If you want to place an order for the wax seals, you can do so at iesportsradio.com/seal the deal wax seals. You know what? I think the Niners, to be honest with you, the Niners need to maybe buy some seal the deal wax seals because they can't seal the deal on any game. They can't close out. You know what, though? I'm not going to go into it right now. I'm all worked up. So before we do that, let's hear a message from our sponsor, Planet Jerky. You're listening to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your home for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
11 minutes past the hour here on the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am your host, Andre Fernandez, and this is the NorCal Sports Report. The 49ers. Let's start with the Niners. Like we always do here on the NorCal Sports Report, we're going to start with the Niners. The 49ers dropped another game to the Arizona Cardinals by a final score of 24-3 in a game in which they should have easily won this game. You're talking about a Cardinals team that gave up 44 points to the Washington Commanders that Jaden Daniels went off on, that couldn't stop the run a week prior to this. Now, granted, I get it. Look, when you play a divisional game, it kind of brings the best out of everybody. You know, they're going to give it 110% because it's a divisional game. You have to, right? Even though you should do it every game. But usually divisional games, they bring out a little bit more. The sad thing about this game is that in the first half, the Niners completely outplayed the Arizona Cardinals. At halftime, they were winning 23-10. The second half of this game, it was all Arizona the entire time. The offense became anemic. The offense struggled in the red zone. They were 1 for 6 in the red zone. A team that was one of the top teams in the league in red zone efficiency last year. This year is not efficient at all. Likely because they don't have Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey makes his offense go. He really does. But the fact that they can't even get the ball in the end zone is startling. The receivers are not getting open, and when they are getting open, Brock isn't seeing them because his timing is all off. Let's talk about Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy still is one of the most elite quarterbacks in the league. I'm not gonna dog on Brock Purdy. But he had one of his worst games of the season. And one of his worst games, period. He was 19-35 for 244 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. However, both those interceptions, one was a deflection on the defensive line, and another, he was hit by a unblocked pass rusher, which led to an interception. So neither one of those were bad passes. It was the defense making plays that caused Brock to throw the interception by either hitting him or deflecting his pass. But he had a passer rating of 62.1. That's so un-Brock Purdy. Now, if you watch Postgame Live over on my channel, DreArea Sports, I'd mentioned that, look, it appears that Brock Purdy doesn't play well in the heat. The whole team didn't play well in the heat. They let the heat get to them, and it felt like. Yeah, at the same time, we know he can't play well in the water. He's like a mogwai. Don't get him too hot. Can't get him wet. If the Niners feed him after midnight, who knows what's going to happen. But for Brock Purdy, I think he'll rebound. His post-game comment, he took responsibility for how he was playing. And he says he and the team needs to get better. They need to execute better. And I agree, they totally need to. Too many mistakes. You had 4 turnovers in the second half. The opening possession. Tip ball interception. The Cardinals. Next possession, you have to go for it on 4th and 23 or 4th and long because Jake Moody, your kicker, has a high ankle sprain, got hurt in the game. Of all the positions that could have gotten hurt, that was the one position you could not afford to lose, was your field goal kicker. And they did. And it was devastating because then the fact that they couldn't even get in the end zone, they had to go for it on 4th down, turnover on downs. J.P. Mason. He had a good game, 14 rushes for 89 yards. Should have rushed the ball more, in my opinion. We were a little too pass happy at 35 attempts by Brock Purdy. We get in the red zone. Okay, the one thing you don't do, the one thing they teach you is don't turn the ball over in the red zone. Don't. What does he do? He fumbles. I mean, within 10 yards of the end zone, he fumbles the ball and gives it back to Arizona. At that point, I had zero faith that the Niners were going to be able to stop the Cardinals from at least getting a field goal. And we're going to talk about the defense in just a little bit. So he turns the ball over. They go down. They score. And then the Niners get the ball back. Can Brock Purdy lead them down the field for a game-winning touchdown? Well, unfortunately, we couldn't block all the pass rushers. Guy got through, hit Purdy as he threw the ball to a wide-open George Kittle. Ball just like a dead bird in the air. Intercepted, game over. In a game in which we were leading 23-10. Alden K. from Always Arizona Sports saying, have a good show, man. Thank you. Thank you, man. And a game we should have won. We lost. And this is the second game in a row. I shouldn't say in a row. This is the second game this season that the Niners should have been able to win easily. First against the Rams. Second against the Cardinals, who got blown out by the Washington Commanders, who are now 4-1. The offense was inconsistent. There were some bright spots in the offense, don't get me wrong, but you have to be able to continue to put points on the board in the red zone especially. You're 1 for 6 in the red zone against the Arizona Cardinals that did not have a very good defense. One of the worst in the league in defense. They had, as of today, they are the 25th ranked defense. They've given up 360 yards a game. Bad coaching. Bad. Always bad. Bad all the way around. If you watch that play in which Jordan Mason fumbled the ball, the Niners' body language screamed 3 things to me. 3. Fuck, I'm hot. That's 1. 2, is this play over? 3, I just want to go home. They were just standing around looking lazy, looking hot, like fucking divas, man. They don't have that killer instinct on either offense or defense. And that's what they have to reestablish, because guess what? In 2 days, you take on the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Now, the Seahawks, they're losers of 2 in a row. Their offense has kind of sputtered. But our defense hasn't given me any confidence that they can stop Seattle's offense. They couldn't even stop Arizona's offense. And that's ridiculous. The Cardinals have the 14th ranked offense. One of the things we talked about last week on the NorCal Sports Report was that I was concerned, and this is what Alden Kemp and I were talking about from the Arizona Sports Show, was that I was concerned that I was concerned with the Niners containing Kyler Murray because of his speed and his running ability. And boy, was I right. He had 7 rushes for 83 yards. His longest was a 50-yard touchdown run in which he pointed. House call. I'm sorry, but if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm telling Nick Sorensen and Brandon Staley, what the fuck was that? How do we give up a read option quarterback run? That is an absolute college play, and yet it led to a 50-yard run house call for a touchdown. If you eliminate that, obviously the Niners win the game. You had the defense. Special teams blocked a field goal. Demo Lenore ran it back for a touchdown. Nick Bosa intercepted a pass, and you still managed to lose this game. One of the things that Nick Bosa said after the game was that he feels that teams aren't playing them the way that they think they're going to play them. And in the second half of this game, they made adjustments. That's why James Conner had 86 yards rushing. In the first half, he only had like 17 yards or 14 yards. Minimal. But James Conner ripped them a new asshole. I shouldn't say that out loud, but you know what I mean. He ran through them like diarrhea. And it was pathetic to watch this defense with all these stars, all these players who want contracts. They couldn't even stop the run. And I'm sorry. Defensively, look, first half, you guys were great. The Cardinals, they made adjustments, and there was zero adjustment from the Niners defense. And some would say, oh, it's easy to blame the Niners defense. Well, I'm sorry, but when you can't stop a shitty offense like the Cardinals, who have a shitty defense, we have problems here. Big fucking problems. Devondre Campbell, he's got to go. I don't care if you're upsetting personalities. I would rather see D. Winters out there. He's faster, better pursuits the ball. Devondre Campbell is horrible against the run. He can't cover anybody. He can't even cover a tight end. He is a liability out there. He needs to be benched or cut. Because he's not doing it. He had 9 tackles and 1 pass deflection, so he did have the pass deflection, but overall, though, his percentages against the run and against the pass are not good. Not good. The Niners are so used to having Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw out there that they forgot what it was like when you don't have great. Look, 2 years ago, we had Al-Shaair, Greenlaw, and Fred Warner. Dominant 3 linebackers. Then you lost Al-Shaair because you couldn't re-sign him, which I don't know why. And now you've lost Greenlaw to injury. And now you're starting to realize, wow, Greenlaw and Warner were doing so much for our defense. Devondre Campbell is in no way in any league close to what Dre Greenlaw was doing. And to me, he's a liability. I would rather see D. Winters out there. He's younger, he's faster, better pursuit, better in pass coverage. He's more explosive. Devondre Campbell looks overweight and slow out there trying to cover receivers or running backs. They got to make a change. Devondre Campbell is not the answer for the 49ers on their defense. It's unbelievable. Talanoa Hufanga. He had the worst PFF score for a defensive player on the Niners on Sunday. He left the game with a hand injury. And unless he starts to show more explosive ability, I think Mustafa has to stay out there. Just all bad all the way around. And guys like Sam Okeanu, Jordan Elliott, Kevin Givens, absolute no-shows. Did not make their presence known whatsoever. Especially in that second half. James Conner ran all over the Niners, and they were powerless to stop them. He looked like an NFL running back going against a high school team, just pushing guys out of the way. It's unbelievable to see. Looking at the numbers, like we said, Jordan Mason, he had 14 rushes for 89 yards, but he had the costly fumble at the end of the game, which essentially cost him the game. Kyler Murray was 19 of 30 for 195 yards, a touchdown, a pick. He had a 79 quarterback rating. He also ran for 83 yards and a touchdown. So if you don't give that up, if you don't give up a touchdown to Kyler Murray on the second play of the fucking game, then you win. Inconsistent play. And something we talked about on Post Game Live over on DreArea Sports is that the Niners are not playing 4 quarters. They're playing 2 1/3. And then second half, really the third quarter, they start to fall apart. And in the fourth quarter, it just seems like they're treading water, just trying to hang on to their lead. They don't have a killer instinct. They can't put their foot to the throat, pedal to the metal, and just blow them out. They can't do it. They did it against the Patriots, but, I mean, come on, that's the Patriots. I mean, that's not a very good team. But when we go against teams that have an established quarterback, Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford, they pick the defense apart. Sam Darnold picked us apart. Aaron Rodgers never got a chance to because he never got the ball. But it's just, these are losses you cannot afford to lose. And why is that? Well, this Thursday you have a division game against the Seattle Seahawks. If they lose this game, and they fall to 2-4 with the Chiefs coming into town a week later, you're in trouble. Chiefs are 5-0. And they would love nothing more than to bury the Niners at 2-6. And they would bury the Niners and just say, hey, see you guys next year. Because at 2-6, you still got games against the Cowboys, the Bills, the Buccaneers, the Lions, and you're telling me you're not going to lose another game after that? I highly doubt that. Now, if there's a silver lining to this Thursday's game, it's that if the Niners win, they're in first place. Which crazy as it sounds, but they're in first place because the Seahawks have lost 2 in a row. Are we going to be the number 1 seed going into the playoffs? No. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, and I've never said this before about my team. I don't have confidence that they can beat the Seahawks based on the way they're playing, based on the way their defense is playing, based on the way their offense goes anemic in the red zone. I don't have a lot of faith in that. Now, I'll be watching. I might even do a live stream while the game is on. I thought about doing that, so we'll see how that works out. But it's unbelievable. The Niners need to right the ship and right the ship fast. Now, what were some of the bright spots? Well, Brandon Ayuk. Praise the Lord. Brandon Ayuk was actually back, and he looked like the Brandon Ayuk of last year. He had 8 catches for 147 yards. He looked good. He was averaging 18 and a half yards a catch. His longest was a 53-yarder. That was great. George Kittle, 8 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown. He had a good game. Debo, 1 catch for 11 yards. Debo, 3 rushes for 9 yards. Not a lot of Debo in this game. I'm not sure what was going on with that. Sometimes I think Kyle Shanahan has a hard time distributing the ball in place to all these guys. Juwan Jennings, 1 catch for 13 yards. I know he hurt his hand early on, but he stayed in the game. Jordan Mason, 1 catch for 9 yards. They got to really utilize Jordan Mason in the passing game. I mean, I know he's a good runner, but you have to change things up. Give him different looks. Something. Later in the show, we're going to talk more in depth about the Niners-Seahawks matchup coming up this Thursday night on Thursday Night Football. It's a big game for the Niners. The Niners, there is a chance by next Friday they will be 2-4. And in a week after that, there's a chance that they could be 2-5 going up against the Cowboys before their bye week. It's a rough year for the Niners right now. I know they have injuries. I know. Okay. I know they have injuries. But they are not consistently playing 4 quarters of football. And it's hurting them. Because now they're 2-3. And in reality, this team should be 4-1. But because of inconsistent play and lackluster sense of urgency, in my opinion, they're 2-3. Makes no sense. You watch Stafford carve up your defense. And then again, Kyler Murray carved up your defense. Broke contain multiple times. Once for a 50-yard touchdown. These are things that you cannot let happen. These are games that you cannot afford to lose against weaker divisional teams. Teams that are massively hurt or have big gaping holes in their game. And you're losing these games. The Niners have not won a single game against an NFC team this year. They've beaten 2 AFC teams, the Jets and the Patriots. They got to figure it out. And we're going to talk more about next week's game, or I should say this Thursday's game, a little bit later in the show. But let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about college football. Oof. Cal, Stanford, San Jose State. 3 C2A scores, and then we'll go back into the Niners about how they fare against the upcoming game against the Seattle Seahawks. You're listening to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your feed for all that is sports.
Hey sports fans, are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up with the latest in the Panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a down south education on Florida sports and athletics. It's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you with the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
Thank you, Ricky K. We're 33 minutes past the hour here on the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Make sure you follow us over on X and Instagram and subscribe to the channel on YouTube, IE Sports Radio. Got a lot of content on there, guys. And then make sure you follow me over at NorCal Sports IE on X and at DreArea Sports over on X and on YouTube as well. I have my own channel, DreArea Sports. Talk about all this sports right behind me. We go live multiple times a week. Not as much as IE Sports Radio. You'd be surprised. IE Sports Radio puts out a lot of content. So go over to IE Sports Radio on YouTube. Smash the like button and subscribe. It's free to subscribe and it helps support the network. So I appreciate everyone who goes and does that. Having said all that, let's talk about Cal Bears football. Oh my God. Cal loses to Miami 39-38. They blow a 25-point lead. My good friend Drew Forder was at the game. I'm so glad I wasn't there. They were up 35-10 at one point. And if you and the IE Sports guys can tell you, I was in there talking all kinds of shit about Cal, saying, hey, they're really good. You guys have no idea. And then they go and shit the bed. Unbelievable. Miami scores 28 points in the second half. 21 in the fourth quarter. And the Bears only scored 3 in the fourth quarter. They look shell-shocked. The Bears had a chance to beat the number 8 Miami Hurricanes, and they had a shot to get ranked after beating a top 10 team. They had a shot. I thought if they won this game, they maybe jump up to 25, 24. And that would have been solid for a week. But no, they had college game day there at Berkeley. The fans were hyped. The atmosphere was electric. And they were blowing out Miami. And they could not close out the game. Maybe they took notes from the Niners. They were just like, how do you close out a game? I don't know. Exactly, Steve-O. It's a crazy game. It was a crazy game. So let's take a look at the stats from Cal and Miami. Fernando Mendoza was 11-22. He played a good game, 284 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Cam Ward is a Heisman candidate, 35-53 for 437 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. He had a passer rating of 144, excuse me. Mendoza had a passer rating of 179. But in that second half, especially the fourth quarter, Cam Ward took over that game. He was confident. He was unfazed by the Cal defense that had been dominating the first half. The Cal defense looked gassed in that fourth quarter because the Cal offense couldn't do anything. They couldn't move the ball. They couldn't throw the ball. They couldn't run the ball. The Hurricanes woke up and said, you know what? Screw these guys. We're better than them. Let's show them. Mario Cristobal, their head coach, former head coach of the Oregon Ducks. I mean, look, they were down big, and they held their composure, and they came back and won that game. Big win for Miami. Huge loss for Cal. To beat a top 10 team, a number 8 team, you had a huge golden opportunity right there. And they blew it. Unbelievable. Then they couldn't run the ball. The Jet, Javian Thomas, 7 rushes for 20 yards. That's it. It's not good. Mendoza ran for 20 yards. He had as much running yards as Javian Thomas. And Javian Thomas's longest run was 19 yards. So he only had a yard. Jaden Knott, 7 rushes for 2 yards. They could not run the ball. It was awful. Mark Fletcher Jr., running back for the Miami Hurricanes, 11 rushes for 81 yards. That was solid. Damian Martinez, 12 rushes for 42 yards. They could not stop the run in the second half, especially. It was just so bad. So, good win for Miami, bad win for Cal. They had a chance to really make a name for themselves in the ACC. But they squandered that chance, and now they move on to their next game. It's not good. Yeah, like I said, big opportunity, and they just did not take advantage of the chance they had to really to become ranked. And now that they move on next week, take on the 5-0, take on Pitt, who's 5-0. And the Cal, they dropped to 3-2, and they could have went to 4-1 and maybe got ranked. Who knows? Really, really sad stuff, though, for the Cal Bears. They played good, just could not close it out whatsoever. We'll see how they do next week against Pitt, but it is what it is. Let's move on over to Stanford football. Well, Stanford got smashed 31-7 against Virginia Tech. Now, Virginia Tech, they almost beat Miami the week before. So they came into the farm, and Stanford was like, screw these guys. We almost beat Miami. We're going to smash you. And they did. 31-7. Kyron Drones, the quarterback of the Virginia Tech Hokies, 14-19 for 201 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, Stanford did not have Ashton Daniels, their starting quarterback. They had to go with Justin Lamson, and he didn't play all that well. He couldn't get much going. They couldn't get much going on the ground either. Micah Ford had 11 rushes for 47 yards. Chris Davis Jr., 8 rushes for 47 yards. There's not much going on offense-wise. Alec Ayomanor only had 3 catches for 33 yards, but he did have a touchdown. So the Cardinal get blown out. They dropped to 2-3 and are 13th in the ACC. Virginia Tech moves up to 3-3, and they are 6th in the ACC. Is there any positivity in this show today? Nothing. Everyone lost. Oh, wait. Everyone but the San Jose State Spartans. San Jose State had a miracle win against Nevada, 35-31. And let's go over those numbers. Let's see here. Emmett Brown was 12 of 28 for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. The player of the game, Nick Nash, 5 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown, and he threw for a touchdown, which was the game-winning touchdown. Nick Nash does it all. He does it all for the San Jose State Spartans. Brendan Lewis of the Nevada Wolfpack, 22 of 30, 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Brandon Lewis of Nevada, 13 catches for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. Guy was balling out there. Absolutely balling. Actually, 13 rushes for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. Sorry about that. I misspoke on that. Floyd Chalk, 14 rushes for 57 yards. Not much, but he got 2 touchdowns, so nice hard running. And the Spartans, San Jose State Spartans, they are 4-1, and they are first in the Midwest Conference. Go San Jose State, representing the Bay Area and finally getting a win for the Bay Area. Cal blew a lead. Niners blew a lead. Stanford never had a lead. They got stomped. But San Jose State came through, and they won their game 35-31 against the Nevada Wolfpack. Fun stuff there. San Jose will move on to play. Where is it at? They will move on to play Colorado State at 12:30 p.m. on True TV. They should be, I mean, you look at their remaining schedule. You're talking about Colorado State, who's 2-3, Wyoming, who's 1-4, Fresno State, Oregon State, Boise State. So the next two games are very winnable games. Tough games against Oregon State and Boise State. Both are 4-1. And Nevada, who was recently ranked, and they're also 4-1. But they got a shot to really run the table here and make a name for themselves in the Midwest Conference. So good on San Jose State. Because I needed to have one of my teams win, and they were one of them. So thank you so much to San Jose State Spartans as they won 35-31. Earthquakes lost to Real Salt Lake. Spelled that wrong. They lost 1-0. And they dropped to like 6-34. Not a very good team. Not a very good team. Let's jump to 3C2A scores. Why don't we? San Joaquin Delta got the crap kicked out of them by Reedley 42-7. That wasn't even close. Butte took down Sequoias 14-12. And these are the 3C2A scores, football scores, that is. Sac City, come on, baby. They're going against Foothill. They got the win, 21-17. And went to Sac City. Go, Sac City. I love that. Monterey Peninsula won 24-17 over Siskoyas. I always jack up that name. It's so bad. I'm so sorry. It's just so bad. American River, they won 31-20 over Modesto. They improved to 2-3. Modesto goes to 3-2. San Mateo took out Fresno City 14-7. San Mateo, CSM, my wife's alma mater, improves to 4-1. Go CSM. Love it. Love it. And Shasta took down Diablo Valley 22-15. Good job on Shasta. And that concludes the scores for the 3C. Actually, I have one more. San Jose took down Cabrillo 32-13. And San Francisco, again, got smashed by Sierra 43-35. San Francisco drops to 0-5. Not good. Really not good. And Merced, they got destroyed by Coalinga 49-6, and Merced drops to 0-4. That's rough. Poor guys. They tried. And that's going to conclude the 3C2A scores. When we come back, we're going to talk more 49er football and dissect what they have to do in order to beat the Seattle Seahawks this Thursday night on Thursday Night Football. Guys, you're listening to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio. Your home for all. Your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back.
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour, every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter, at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter. At any time, be happy to reply. Always want to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
47 minutes past the hour here on the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And we're talking about the 49ers taking on the Seattle Seahawks this Thursday on Thursday Night Football. And now, when you look at their defensive and overall offensive rankings, total offense, the Niners are ranked second in the league in total offense. We know they can move the ball. In terms of yardage, just can't score touchdowns in the red zone. I don't understand that. And I feel like a lot of their concepts they use in the red zone are maybe plays and concepts that they've used in the past. And the league has kind of caught up to them. So Kyle Shanahan needs to be a little more creative when it comes to getting the ball into the end zone. If anyone can figure it out, it's Kyle Shanahan. But they got to figure out how to get that ball in the end zone. They've got to. The Seattle Seahawks have the 7th ranked offense. Now, the past 2 games they've lost, but overall this season they've put up a lot of big numbers offensively until last week against the Lonely Giants, where they lost, like 29-20, which is like a weird score. But the Seahawks are averaging 376 yards a game, and they've scored 14 touchdowns. The Niners have only scored 12. That number needs to be higher. The Ravens have the number 1 offense. They've scored 18. The Bengals, they have 16 touchdowns. Why don't we have more than 12? It's unbelievable. It's because their red zone deficiency that they got to work on. But this is going to be a tough game because you're going into Seattle. The Niners are favored by 3.5. That may move a little bit as we get closer to Thursday. Now, the Niners are a very talented team. The Niners can pull off this win. And if they win this game, they'll actually be in first place. Because they'll be 3-3 and they beat the first place Seattle Seahawks, who will drop to 3-3 if they win. And then based on what Arizona does, they may move to first or they may drop. But a chance at first place when you've had a really shitty season so far is a great thing for the Niners. A great thing. Let's look at their passing offense. Niners have the 4th best passing offense. Guess who has the 3rd best? Seattle Seahawks. Getting pressure on Geno Smith is critical. Now, in this case, you're not going against a running quarterback. Geno Smith is not a mobile quarterback. He can scramble here and there, but he's not a mobile quarterback like Kyler Murray. I think you're looking at, in terms of his mobility, you're looking at more of like a Jacoby Brissett, which is going to help the Niners because when they just stand back there, they do a much better job at putting pressure on the quarterback. But the Niners need to find ways to score touchdowns. They've only have 6 passing touchdowns. Seahawks only have 5. But they need to be more efficient in that red zone. I keep talking about that. They really need to. The Niners have the 7th ranked rushing offense, averaging 144 yards a game, but they only have 4 touchdowns. They can't even pound the ball into the end zone when they get there, which is just mind-boggling to me. I don't understand that. And the Seahawks have the 22nd rushing offense. Now, looking at defensively, Let's go defense against the pass. The Niners are ranked 12th. Seahawks are ranked 7th. So they have a better passing defense than the Niners do. But the rushing defense is a little different. The Niners are the 9th best running defense, allowing 110.8 yards and only 4 touchdowns. But still allowing 110 yards a game. You got to get that down. Look at the Chiefs. They're only allowing 88 yards. The Vikings, 67. The Ravens, 60. And we're allowing over 100 yards a game. Can't have it. You can't. Especially on Thursday night. The Seahawks have the 20th ranked rushing defense. Okay, so you would look at that and say, okay, you got the 20th ranked rushing defense. Okay. Going against the Niners, who have the 7th best rushing offense. You should be able to run the ball on Seattle. Give the ball to Jordan Mason. I know he coughed it up, which cost us the game, but they got to establish the run, and they got to go back to establishing the run and play action. You haven't seen a lot of play action this year. I don't know what it is, but when Mason is in the game, he is your primary running back, and everyone knows if you give him the ball, he's going to run hard up the middle or to the sides, but he's going to run hard. And I think the Niners really need to focus on reestablishing that play action that they've gotten away from. Now, it could be that team defenses are just saying, hey, look, we've noticed that when we stuff the box, they audible out and start throwing the ball. So they're dictating what the Niners are doing on offense. So the Niners need to be more creative. They need to be more spontaneous. They need to be able to run the ball with play action, and they need to get out to an early lead, especially in Seattle, to get that crowd calmed down. But the way that the Niners are playing lately, defensively and offensively, I hate to say this, I don't see the Niners winning this game. I don't. I think the Niners are going to hit rock bottom in Seattle. I have my final score prediction, which I'll drop a little bit later in the show. I just have to round things out, but this is the one game where I don't see them winning this game. Every game this year, I'm like, yeah, the Niners win this game. You guys have heard me say it. But this is the one game that I don't see them winning. I don't. Based on the way they're playing, offensively and defensively, I don't have enough confidence in this team to say that they're going to go into Seattle on short rest and pull out that win. Even though we're more talented than they are, that's for damn sure. But I just don't see it. I don't. And not only that, my final score prediction for this game, 31-17 Seattle. I think Seattle is just going to torch them through the air. And the Niners are going to look confused, unprepared, like they have been week in, week out. The Niners need to figure this out. They absolutely need to figure this out. Because right now they're not. And right now they are vulnerable to a team like Seattle who wants to get back on the winning way, back on the track against the Niners. They would love nothing more than to beat San Francisco Thursday night. And I think the one thing that the Niners have suffered from is that they have not wanted it more than both the Rams and the Cardinals and the Vikings. You saw those teams going 110%, giving it all they had. You could tell they wanted that win. The Niners, I don't know, man. Looked a bit lackadaisical. But we do have some updated news. The 49ers have signed veteran kicker Matthew Wright, former Jaguar, former Chief, former a lot of teams. And he'll be our new kicker going into Thursday night against the Seattle Seahawks. So at least now the Niners have a kicker, because they didn't have one last week, second half of the game. And that took a huge toll on the Niners. And we also got some more breaking news. Robert Saleh. The Jets have fired Robert Saleh per Adam Schefter. And I put down the 49ers need to get him back in the coach's room and help shore up this defense. Will it happen? I don't know. Some of the analysts are saying that he won't come back here, or the Niners won't want to bring him in because that's going to disrupt everything they have going with Sorensen and Staley. But guess what? Sorensen and Staley aren't getting it done. When you lose games to the Cardinals and the Rams, games you should have won. If you were telling me that we were 4-1 going up against the Seahawks Thursday night, I would say I'd feel more confident. I'd say, hey, you know what? This is good. But then after that, you have the Chiefs, and then you have the Cowboys, and you have a bye week. If the Niners can't pull off these 3 wins, they have to win 3 in a row. They have to. Because you still got games against Buffalo. You still got games against the Bucks, Cardinals, Rams, Lions, and you haven't proven to me at least, that you can pull this off. They need to get Robert Saleh in the room. They need to get him. I don't care if he's an assistant coach, sits there as a consultant. They need to get him back in that room to help this defense. And to be honest, it would not surprise me if at the end of this next 3-game stretch with Seattle, the Chiefs, and the Cowboys, if we lose 2 out of 3, if not all 3, I think Sorensen is done. I think they bring in Robert Saleh, which is a crazy move because we saw even the Eagles do it last week. But I think that you can only go so far. If you're losing these games, these are the bigger games, and you're losing those games as well as the games that were supposed to be gimmies, I think change has to be made. In some kind of capacity, change has to be made. I don't even care if they bring in Robert Saleh just to hang out and give his opinion. They need something to help shore up this defense, because right now they're not stopping anybody. James Conner tore us up in the second half. That's why they won the game, because all they kept doing was giving the ball to James Conner. He kept run for a first down. He had 10-yard runs. You can't let that happen, especially against Kenneth Walker. They're going to just run the ball nonstop. And most of the time in these Thursday night games, except for the last week, it was a barn burner, you tend to see a lot of running plays because everyone's banged up. They just got done playing on Sunday. So do I think the Niners can win this game? Well, I think they have enough talent to win the game. That's for sure. But I don't feel confident that they're going to win this game. Final score, 31-17 Seahawks. I think it's going to be a rock bottom game, and the Niners are going to start to realize we've reached rock bottom, and we got to figure this out. And I think that the return of Christian McCaffrey, if all goes well, against the Chiefs, that will be the game that they start to turn things around. Will it be enough to save their season? Only time will tell. But the Niners are talented enough to get it done. And we've seen this before. The Niners have had slow starts. Under Kyle Shanahan, they never really have fast starts. They usually don't. But remember, if the Niners win this game on Thursday, they will be in first place in the NFC West. Gotta love it. You gotta love it. Oh boy. First place on the line, and the Niners need to step up Thursday night. Do I think they'll win? No, I don't. But I hope to God they prove me wrong. This is one time I want to be proven wrong. But like I said, my feeling on this, Seahawks win 31-17. It's blowout. I don't think they can stop them by the air. I don't think they'll have any luck stopping them on the ground. They tend to not make any kind of defensive adjustments in the second half, nor offensive adjustments. So there you have it. Niners are favored by 3.5, and we'll see how they play Thursday night against the Seattle Seahawks with first place on the line. Unbelievable. Guys, that's going to do it for the show. I want to thank everyone who came out today, everyone in the chat. I want to thank Larry B. Happy birthday to Cecilia B. I want to thank Jen and Angela, who are the producers of these shows. They do a fantastic job. Niners got a big game coming up Thursday night, and they got to pull it together fast. Can they do it? I think they can. Will they do it? We'll see. Prove me wrong, Niners. I want to see you guys prove me wrong and win this game and take first place. If you want to follow me, you can follow me over on NorCal Sports IE over on X. You can follow me on YouTube over at DreArea Sports, on X and Instagram at DreArea Sports. Go over to nicotina.net. That's the homepage for all three of my channels. Memberships are available, and you can join the communities to be able to interact with me and other show hosts to talk about Bay Area sports. We'll see how the Niners fare this Thursday, but man, they got a lot on the line. Big time. Guys, you're listening to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll see you guys next time.